Hi everyone, welcome to the VAK Indian History Podcast. I'm Utkarsh.
Namaste, Sumedha from Switzerland, as usual.
Yes, and this is the episode when we finally start cashing the checks, or is it what? What is the word for it? When you
So,
cash the
honoring the
check that
checks,
honoring the
honoring
checks
the
that you cash.
checks.
Because
Yes,
we have been talking for a while about talking about STEM topics, because India and STEM are, I mean, India is the source of pretty much a lot of STEM. Uh, and it hasn't been covered adequately both in the global press, even in our own press, right? So our series is supposed to do that. We've done a bit of it. You've seen our episodes on calendar, you've seen our episodes on numbers, zero, time. So today we will shift from physics to biology, perhaps is what you could say. And we're going to be talking about something that we first mentioned we'll talk about almost 2 years ago, but we're going to do it, finally do it. And it is,
it is nothing but surgery. And who is the father of surgery? Which country is the center source of surgery? Is what we tell you today. But it's a grand subject, Utkarsh. So to pinpoint it, what are your questions?
so I think there are two or three things. So one always is India indeed the first recorded instance of surgery or the first recorded knowledge system of surgery? Yes or no? If yes, what is that knowledge system? When is it from? And what were its applications? I think that's already quite broad. So maybe we
That's
just
very
start from the
broad.
beginning. Yeah.
Yes, that's very broad, and we need not necessarily make this the only program on surgery. But this
Hmm.
time, we'll give a comprehensive view of it, a little bit of a background, and tell you the highlights. After that, you know, the world is our oyster, or whatever you ask, whatever questions you ask, we can always reply to those. So, remember, Utkarsh, that I said that we have a system of classification and epistemology. Sorry for the big word, but that basically means the structure of knowledge. And there were 14 areas of knowledge. It started with the four Vedas and then the four Up-Vedas. So, Ayurveda, which is what we are going to actually talk about today, because Shalya Chikitsa or surgery is just one of the divisions of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is the Upved of one of the Veds, and that is Atharva Ved. Remember, there are four Vedas: Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samved, Atharva. And the Upved of the Atharva Ved is Ayurveda. What is the meaning of Ayurveda? Have you ever thought about it? Any interest in that? You have to understand it to realize what the system of well-being really is. Ayu is life, sustaining of life, and Ved is no. So
Hmm.
to know how to sustain your Ayu or your life, this is the whole area of Ayurveda, which is why it is often thought of as the science of well-being, and that's exactly what it is. It is the science of well-being. So, what are the roots of Ayurveda? I told you the roots of Ayurveda are very much in the Vedic corpus itself. However, it's not enough to have some pieces of knowledge in the four Vedas. Your question has been, and correct me if I'm wrong, Utkarsh, you want a system of knowledge, a systematized way of putting, classifying, understanding, as well as disseminating that knowledge, right? So for that,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
for that we'll have to go into what are the big manuals of Ayurveda. But I also want to answer one of your questions, which is the first recorded instance of surgery. Now, recorded is a quite word. Can you tell me what exactly you mean by it?
I guess there are two ways of recording. One is that you have a particular account that this happened on this date that can be verified in some way or the other. Or second one is perhaps a story which
Yes.
describes something akin to that, but you can't exactly know when the story originated, but you know that the story is very old.
Utkarsh, we've made a Vedic man out of you,
Is
because
that
you have
way?
understood that stories are a way of disseminating knowledge. All are Purans, Puranic stories, Rig Vedic stories. What are they? They are
Hmm.
a means of encoding as well as
Hmm. Hmm.
carrying knowledge forward. So actually, in the Rig Veda, Rigved, there is the instance of Princess Vishpala, who is a warrior
Hmm.
princess. She goes for a war, she goes to fight, and she loses one of her legs. So there is one shlok in the Rigved which describes how the Ashwini Kumar gave her what is called a prosthetic limb and how she is then ready to fight in the war again. This is one story. Recorded instance is different. I will come to that too, because today we kind of look at Western systems of recording, etc., and there are myriad problems with that which we have discussed so many times. But this is one of the stories that are there in the Rigved regarding the replacement of a limb which has been removed through prosthetics, which is of course surgery. But I perfectly take your question that we have to have something which is systematized. So, how is it that we understand, or what are the sources of this systematization in our own streams of knowledge? Now, Utkarsh, are you aware of the celestial twins, the Ashwini Kumars? They are two devas. I don't know whether you know of them,
Hmm.
but
I've heard of them.
they're
Yeah, yeah.
twins. Yeah, so they're twins. And these twins are both the repository of all medical knowledge, of all, everything to do with medicine, everything to do with well-being. The Ashwini Kumars are super, super duper divine doctors. Let's put it that way. So these two Ashwini Kumars stand for types of, let's say, ways of well-being. What are these two types? One of them is actually Shalya Tantra or surgery, the one which we will talk about. And the other one is called Kaya Chikitsa or medicine, which is non-invasive, which is through, giving you things to eat, etc., that kind of thing. That is called Kaya Chikitsa. So one of the Ashwini Kumars stands for surgery, the other stands for Kaya Chikitsa. Now, during the time, do you remember the story of the Sagar Manthan, Karsh? So
Yep, yep.
when the Asurs and the Devas, both of them churned the ocean, and a number of things came out, and in the end, Amrit, and there were lots of stories about that. So during the Sagar Manthan, who was the person who came out with that pot of Amrit? That pot of Amrit was carried by somebody who's called Dhanvantari. So Dhanvantari is the father figure for all kinds of medicinal learning, medical learning, surgical learning, all that you can talk of. So, this Dhanvantari is actually the representative of this particular type of knowledge. That is the one we are talking about, Shalyatan. Dhanvantari is said to have given his knowledge to Vriddha Sushrut. Remember, Vriddha Sushrut, then Sushrut, and then Nagarjuna. We also have that other one, Kai Chikitsa. We'll talk about it later, maybe some other episode. But there is someone called Atreya, Purnavasu, then there is Agnivesh, then there is Charak, and then there is Dridbal. So you got two names here, which bring us to today's episode. One is Sushrut and the other is Charak. Sushrut is the father of surgery in the entire world. It is with Sushrut that these systems actually started, and it is with him that we can actually find a very, very, very super systematic method of surgery, which was later, in fact, disseminated to China, to the Arabic countries, to Europe. We'll look a little bit
When
about that also.
when did he live?
Good question, because I'll talk about the Bauer manuscript once again before we end this episode. But there are certain different ways of dating him. So his dates are somewhere in the first millennium before the Common Era. Now, whether it was 1000 BCE or whether it was 600 BCE or 300 BCE, a little difficult to pinpoint it because there are some things which are not very clear. In the Sushruta Samhita itself, it says that he went to the king of Banaras. This king of Banaras was Divodas. And it is from Devodas that he and six other pupils gathered all their knowledge. The manuals written by those six other pupils no longer exist, although references to them exist. So here the thing is, Utkarsh, that a lot of these things are lost, but we get to know them through references from other manuscripts and also through translations. Chinese and Arabic translations of some works exist, even though the original work in Sanskrit is no longer there. So it's a very convoluted and difficult thing to say. What we can be perhaps very certain of is that of the three, there's a triumvirate of the Ayurveda manuals. One is the Sushruta Samhita, one is the Charak Samhita, and the third one is what is called the Ashtanga Hriday by VAK. Shruta seems to be the oldest. Charak seems to be in the first millennium of the Common Era, right? So that one is first millennium before the Common Era and first millennium of the Common Era. And this Vak, the Ashtanga Hriday, it's another 400-500 years later in the Common Era. These three are the most important works and people associated with the whole area of Ayurveda, and it is based on these that the entire area of Ayurveda is being slowly understood. Another thing I want to point out, Sash, which I'm sure you will later also, that it's not so easy to translate from Sanskrit or Arabic or Chinese into modern medical terminology. Or even say the plants mentioned by Charak. Which plant is it exactly? The instruments mentioned by Charak, what exactly does he mean? So a lot of effort has been spent on this, and well, lots of very good results have also come out. But there is definitely a need for a medical professional who is proficient in Sanskrit, who is proficient in all these things to look at this and do some deep research in this.
So you need a surgeon who's a Sanskrit historian.
Yes,
Wow.
Sanskritist. And there is actually a person whose talks I have listened to. His name is Dr. Valyathan. He's a cardiologist. And he's also a person who's got a Padma Shri. He has spoken a lot about Sushruta and surgery. And if anyone wants, then his talks are there on the Atharv forum. So you can go and listen to his talks on the Atharv forum. But he also, there's a lot of work to do. So I think I have established that medicine,
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question
yes,
then. So for if there was a well-established medical practice and a practice including surgery, that in theory should have continued unbroken even through all the invasions, right? So was there surgery in India when, for example, the Europeans came, when they didn't have surgery themselves, when they used to do things like when George Washington was sick, I think they drained 6 liters of his blood or something like that. I can't remember the exact story. So was there a long line of was or because there should be no reason for that practice to get lost in time. I can understand, for example, with martial arts, where it was a threat. So they closed down all those gym kind of things. I forget what they were called. So
Halurika,
for this,
yes. Hmm.
yeah. So for this medical knowledge, did it sustain or
So
because I'm
that's
wondering
a,
why this is
yeah,
shrouded in more mystery versus
yes,
some.
that is an excellent question. And in fact, this is, I will answer it in two, 3 points. The first one is that you find instances of this surgery and records of these surgeries sporadically till the 9th or 10th century. Then you
Hmm.
also find translations of these reaching China and Arabia in the 8th, 7th, 8th century. After that, this knowledge seems to have moved out of the actual systematized, what can I say, manuals that were part of the main narrative of knowledge building. For some reason, which I am not sure what that reason is, it did not die out. But manuals became fewer and fewer in number. Till the 9th, 10th century, you had many commentaries, many manuals, but became fewer and fewer in number. However, in practice, it survived with people who no longer called themselves Vaidyas. And the best example of this survival is the rhinoplasty surgery, which was actually witnessed by British surgeons in, let me just check the date, in March 1793 in Pune. So in 1793 in Pune, there was a rhinoplasty, that is plastic surgery, which was carried out by a local person. This was recorded, sketches, etc., were made of it. The knowledge was sent to England. It was published in a magazine there. It was picked up by people there. And the beginnings of surgery and plastic surgery in the modern Western medicinal framework was given an impetus by this. Now, the answer to your question, as you can see, is I don't have all the facts absolutely and clearly place in front of you because it is a bit of a mystery. It moved out of the mainstream knowledge making area into practice, and it was practiced, as you can see from this rhinoplasty. It was practiced by people, but manuals were no longer being produced at all. You see that the Islamic invasion happened in the 11th and 12th century. Perhaps that kind of disruption had something to do with it. This is something which can be resolved perhaps later. Also, remember, Utkarsh, that we have literally lakhs of Sanskrit manuscripts lying untranslated and unread. So there may be a lot of knowledge and information there which we still do not have. In fact, like I've told you about the Natya Shastra, like I've told you about the Artha Shastra, Sushrut's Sanhita was also lost, and it was again discovered in the early 20th century. So we may discover a lot of things. And we'll have a little section. I hope, Utkarsh, you'll give me a little bit of time to talk about the exact dissemination, because I have some interesting articles for you from what I suppose people will think are very good sources, Western sources, Western journals. So I have articles for you from Springer Nature, for example, regarding dissemination of Indian surgery to across the world. In India itself, this topic of surgery and plastic surgery in India has been treated with levity by the mainstream media. It's been a butt of jokes that this didn't happen, and next you're going to say that Lord Ganesh was made with plastic surgery, etc. And they have never taken it seriously. I don't know why. However, if you go to the actual research journals, all of them acknowledge in so many words that Sushruta is the father of surgery, and India is the source country for surgery across the entire world.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions on this? Or you
No,
want to move on to
that was
something
my
else?
question. No. Okay. No. So yeah, that kind of answered the bit. So I guess linked to what you're describing. So what were the common surgeries that used to happen?
Yes. Yeah,
Because if you ask us,
yes.
yeah, if you ask somebody what other surgeries that happen today, they will say everything from appendix to, of course, cesarean births. I'm saying what is common in today's day and
Yeah.
age. And of course, if you go to Korea, you get plastic surgery. That's also a different thing, popular today. So what was common back then? What ailments or what particular things were treated, and what kind of instruments were used? You said we can't exactly translate, but what do we know? And do they exist? Because these should be, in theory, like tools, right? They should be relatively
Yes, yes.
not fragile. They should persist. So do we have any
I
such
don't know
things?
whether we have I don't think we have discovered ancient tools because Utkarsh, they were made from very precious metals. So I expect that they would have been melted and remade and all the rest of it. But models of them definitely exist. There are textual descriptions. From those textual descriptions, pictures and images have been made. And also, I have one image of actual surgical instruments all set out together. So I'll show you those also. Now, what is the first thing that will happen when you think about the ancient world? War, right? So when you go to war, there are bound to be lots of injuries. So battlefield injuries are some of the first things which need to be looked at. So those are the things like you have to set bones, or you have to do something uh, to injuries, etc. And I'll show you some interesting pictures of how bones were set. But Some of the other common things were dislodging of islands. I'm giving you a list from the Sushruta Samhita, right? This is what, and before we go
Okay.
forward, perhaps I should show you some of the books. So this is the Sushruta Samhita. It is available in this Chaukhamba publication in 3 volumes. Okay, so
Hmm.
this is one of the books which has been referred to. The other is which we are not looking at today, but which we will when we go on to other Ayurvedic things. This is the Charak Samhita. This is
So,
also
out of
available from
curiosity,
Chaukhamba.
you just had these books lying around in your library.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Not lying around, I read them.
Okay.
I read them. So this Charak Samhita is it's in 2 volumes. If you want, I can show you
Okay.
all the volumes, but I think these are heavy
No,
enough.
no, no. No, some people read Twilight, others read Sushruta
Samhita.
Samhita.
And this is the Ashtanga Hridayam. This is by Vagbhat. So this
Okay.
is basically, taking in everything that existed at the time, Charak Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, and distilling it and dividing
Hmm.
Ayurveda into 8 parts. This Ashtanga Hridaya, if you me some particular topics of Ayurveda, or if our listeners give us some
Hmm.
specific topics of Ayurveda that they want to talk about, I am going to
Hmm.
read portions of Ashtanga Hridaya, and then we can discuss that. So this is just to give you a flavor of the kind of research which has been done for this one. Now, all these were in Hindi. These are basically Sanskrit with Hindi translations.
Hmm.
But this book
Hmm.
is one of the most important as far as Western understanding of Ayurveda is concerned. And people who will go to the internet and Google stuff on it, most of it is taken from this book. Now, I am sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The book is called The Roots of Ayurveda, and Dominic, Vujastik, maybe Vujastik, that's Wujastyk.
Hmm.
So I am
Hmm.
sorry, I am defeated by the pronunciation. But this is one of the most important books. He has degrees in physics and Sanskrit and a doctorate in
Hmm.
Sanskrit also. And he
Hmm.
works in the area of the history of medicine. And his work is one of the most important one. Most of the sketches that you see on the internet regarding Sushruta and his instruments,
Hmm.
etc., they're all taken
Hmm.
from this. And
Okay.
people have plagiarized it. So these are
Okay.
the books that I was talking about. And to
Yeah.
come back to the kind of ailments that were the kind of problems that were dealt with, we talked about battlefield injuries. Then else did I tell you? Here, eyes, sorry, shift of eye lenses. Then important one, cutting the bladder to remove stones.
Hmm.
One is one which went very early to the West, and I'll talk specially about it.
Can I ask you something? I know I understand you're not a medical expert.
Yes,
One
please
important
understand
component
that,
of
Utkarsh.
one important component of surgery is
Very
anesthesia,
good
right?
question. Very good
Wasn't
question.
anesthesia invented relatively recently?
So, there was no anesthesia used from what it appears on reading this Shamya Chikitsa. What was done? The patient was plied with alcohol.
Also, they were drunk out of their minds.
Yes, yes, yes. That
Oh,
is
wow.
here. Yeah, and Utkarsh, another small interesting thing. What else is connected to surgery? Suturing. So, what was the method of suturing? They used ants. So there was an ant which would bite the two things together, then it would be broken off. Only the head and the what's it called? Whatever the mandibles
Yeah,
would be left, holding the two pieces of skin together. So that's quite mind-boggling. It's difficult for me to
that's an image right there.
yeah, yeah. I don't have that image, and I don't even want to have it. Or maybe you can look for it.
Hmm.
So that was the question about anesthesia is a good one, and I feel Utkarsh also that we must do a study of anesthesia too. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it
Hmm.
because it seems to me that it's a bit of a necessity because
Hmm.
otherwise all these things would have been sheer torture. But for the moment, as far as the Sushruta Samhita says, You just had to use alcohol and ply the
Hmm.
patient with alcohol. Now, the other things were this cutting up the bladder for stones is an important one. I'll come back to it. Then removing of arrow splinters. One very important thing was plastic surgery of earlobes. There seem to be apparently lots and lots of problems with earlobes. And let me
Because
try
of
to
all
show
the
you.
heavy earrings everybody wore.
Quite
Is that the reason?
possible. Very, very possible actually that it could be because of those things. So I want to show you some illustrations from uh, our friend. Where is it?
Dominic.
Yes. Our friend Dominic. There's some of the pictures are pretty disgusting. I don't know whether the ones on this page, this one,
Can't
where
tell
there's some kind,
anything.
you can't tell anything. Anyway, so this is,
Yeah.
does this help?
Oh, is that the ear cut off? I can't tell.
No, that's some kind of obnoxious growth on the ear. It's called a cheek ear. Anyway, so
Ooh.
these are the things which are described, which are pretty disgusting. I don't want to go into details, but you see, I mean, these problems exist and these problems have to be rectified. And these have been described as issues and ways in which to correct these problems of the earlobes. Then there's something called couching for cataract. Again, I am not a medical professional. I don't know what it is, but cataract is a common enough problem and
Hmm.
it's being dealt
Yeah.
with even today. Uh, One thing that I want to talk about is rhinoplasty, which is
Hmm.
remodeling of the nose. This was also
Nose.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is one of the most important ones because the one in 1793 was rhinoplasty, which was done as per Sushrut's methods, almost
So why
identical.
were they doing plastic surgery for the nose? They didn't like how their nose looked.
No, because people used to cut off noses for
What?
many reasons. Yes, that was one of the most common punishments.
Oh
Cutting
my
off of
God.
the nose. Yes, cutting off of ear, nose, and nose. Oh gosh, you've forgotten Shurpanakha.
Yeah, I didn't think that's the common practice.
That was a way of punishing people. But this person who went in 1793 to Pune actually
Hmm.
was in a battle for the British against Tipu Sultan. His name
Okay.
was Kawasji. He got his nose cut off in the battle. It was not punishment and it was not anything strange.
Hmm.
Battle.
Hmm.
So he wanted to get it corrected, get
Hmm.
it remodeled. He asked for leave, and his superior said, "This is nonsense. Nobody can do this kind of surgery, so you're telling lies." So he said, "Okay, come." And you can see it being done, and that's actually what happened. Two people went with him because they did not trust him, and they witnessed it and saw it and made sketches of it. I'm going to show you some of those sketches too.
Sure.
They are also a little gross. Right now or later? You want to see them right now?
Yeah, why not? Since you're already talking about it.
Okay. So then just give me a minute and I will take out that.
For those of you who are squeamish, this is your opportunity to go out, get a cup of tea.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Yeah, it is a little disgusting. I shouldn't use
It
that
can't be
word, I'm
it
guessing.
can't be a photo though. It's 1790s. Must be illustrations.
It is a sketch. Yeah, they are sketches.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
those sketches have been, well, pictures of those sketches, etc., images have become very, very popular in surgical journals.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. And now I share my screen. Do you see it, Utkarsh?
Screen sharing has started. Yes. Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Let me see if
So
I can make
initially
it a
there's
little
just
bigger.
yeah, there's just a hole, so they take skin from the forehead and then they is that what I'm seeing?
So how to,
That's what that's what it seems to describe.
yes. Okay. So
They
what is
seem to cut off
actually
skin
done?
from the forehead. Yeah.
Yes. So this is Sushrut. Okay. So you cut off skin
Yeah.
in the same, what is described by, for the Kawasi operation is that he went to a man who was sitting under a tree. The man plucked
Okay.
under a peepal tree. He plucked a leaf from the tree, put it on
Uh,
the nose of this person, and made a sketch of his nose using that leaf. Then he cut the leaf
okay.
into that shape. Then he put that shape on his cheek and cut
Okay.
out a flap, and keeping there's one very important thing which you have to remember. See, this is the bridge of the nose. So at
Hmm.
any point of time, the skin on the bridge of the nose must be kept alive. So
Okay.
cut will be on the cheek in the shape of the destruction of the nose, the structure of the nose. That much will be cut, but the last bit on the bridge of the nose will not be cut. Then the
Okay.
flap will be turned like this on the nose.
By the way,
Then,
these drawings are actually from 1792.
yes.
Okay.
So the exact drawing from 1792 is this one, of this one. That one was a
Okay.
reconstruction. This is the one. You see what is the difference between the two? This one shows the
Okay.
forehead, right? So
Yeah.
what Truth said was you cut from here, keep the nasal bridge skin intact, turn it
Yeah.
down, stick
Yeah.
it over here, let it stay for some time, and then it'll start, the skin cells will start growing, because remember the
Hmm.
bridge is still attached and it's still alive.
Hmm.
This
Hmm.
is the reconstruction from Sushruta. However, look at this one. This is what was actually done. No, not this one. This is forehead rhinoplasty. The one which is
Hmm.
actually done, I will show you from my friend Dominic's.
You have to make your screen stop sharing your screens. Otherwise, you are very
So,
small in the.
yeah, okay. But the important thing to remember here is
Hmm.
that the innovation done by Sushrut was that
Hmm.
bridge the skin on the bridge of the nose was kept alive, and it helped to
Okay.
regrow the tissue. Okay, so this was Sushrut's innovation.
Hmm.
This is why
Hmm.
this surgery worked, and this is how it was done. Now I'm going to, okay. So now, if you want to look at me, this here is the bridge. Sushrut says cut from here and put over here. What happened in 1793? This person went to whoever the physician, he was sitting there. He took that little sketch of the
Hmm.
nose, he placed it here and cut
Okay.
the skin here,
Okay.
keeping this alive.
Okay.
Turned it over here. There was a pre-prepared glue. He put the glue on the skin
Hmm.
and he put it on the nose and he
Hmm.
bandaged it, and he said,
Hmm.
go home and just sit quietly for 5 to 6 days.
Okay.
And after 5 to 6 days, when that person was examined again by two people had gone with him. Their
Hmm.
names are also, their names have been passed down for posterity because they recorded everything. So one of
Hmm.
them was called James Findlay, and the other person was called, what was he? He was Thomas Cruise. Both of them were surgeons in the British Army.
The very interesting thing here is that as long as it's being talked about by Indians, it's all hearsay. The moment a white guy goes and confirms it is true,
Utkarsh,
it becomes
Utkarsh.
a matter of historical record. Like
Yes.
this whole approach to history is just so messed up.
So, this is the original sketch this was published in 1794 by
Okay,
the Gentleman's Magazine, and it is
okay,
found in the Wellcome Institute Library in London. So the
okay.
difference was of the cheek and of the forehead.
Hmm.
Do you want to see those gross pictures again, or should I
No,
just,
it's okay. People got the image, I think, and they can Google Gentleman's Magazine if they really want to.
yeah, just Google
Whichever.
rhinoplasty and Sushruta rhinoplasty
Hmm.
or Sushruta
Hmm.
surgery, and you'll get it.
Hmm.
So this is the actual modern day post-colonial stimulus that was given by Indian surgical practices to British surgery. So when this went there and this was reported, then some people tried it and then they made that method into a very common one, and plastic surgery took off in the Western world. So
Hmm.
this is a what can I say? In the end, what happens is that all this is forgotten.
Hmm.
Surgery will come back to India, and people will say that there was never any surgery in India, no medicine in India. The bits to which we had fallen, or we improved a bit, but still not where we should be.
Hmm.
Things that were our own came back to us, and we said, "Oh my God, wow, wonderful! We've never heard of this before." So that is called, the dust that lies over history, and well, that is the dust we are trying to remove. But from these gross pictures to come back to what we were discussing, so what were the kind of ailments? So I think you more or less got it, but there are some other things also. Um, but I'll tell you when I show you the instruments, because all this stuff is, I'm not a medical person, and it's a bit of a,
Hmm.
uh, I'm a little squeamish about these things, and I will explain to you when we see those instruments. So this is what were the things which were done. So we remember surgery of limbs, battlefield problems, etc. And then ears, eyes, nose, bladder, and cataract, all those kinds of things, and battlefield injuries. So that's
Hmm.
fairly clear, Utkarsh. Any questions?
Yes. No, very clear.
So what should we go to next? Where
So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You're saying.
I was saying, should I just tell you what are the kind of things that were also the larger classification of issues which were taken care of? So one is, different injuries, reconstruction,
Hmm.
deafness, broken bones, dental issues, chair road, which is consumption. Now, it is
Hmm.
not very clear to me how consumption or TB was taken care of via surgery. It's not very clear to me. So this is something I will welcome inputs on.
Consumption. I just realized consumption is a word you hear a lot in 19th century literature,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's disappeared altogether
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a way.
because TB has been, I mean, you've got medicines
Yeah.
for TB.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the
Correct.
TB was a death
Uh,
sentence.
Yeah. So many people died of the
So
consumption,
many people
right?
died.
If you read.
And also,
Yeah.
you didn't know that, how it spread, how it could be
Hmm.
guarded again. So you didn't know all that. The TB is no
Yeah.
longer such a big deal.
Yeah.
In fact,
Correct.
unfortunately, Utkarsh, one of the main places where TB still survives to some extent is India.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
So
that's true.
I don't know, it wouldn't have happened to you, but when I moved to Switzerland, me and my family were checked for TB. My children were
Oh,
specially checked for TB.
no, no. Singapore also checks, by the way.
Yeah. So maybe when you joined college, you also checked for TB.
Yeah, yeah. I was. I know this for a fact.
Yeah. And my
Yeah.
children were also checked for TB in their schools.
Hmm.
So I don't know how surgery does this. Okay. So if anybody is
Hmm.
planning to ask me that question, don't. Ask
Hmm.
someone else who knows the answer. Maybe nobody knows because, like I said, a lot of things are not very clear, things which are written in that
Hmm.
manual. Then another
Hmm.
thing which is heart disease. So
Hmm.
that's a very interesting thing because heart surgery is a big deal nowadays, but what and how was done then? Again, this is a question which awaits greater elucidation. I will not be able to answer. The cauterization, you know what cauterization is? Burning that part so that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, it's there's no infection over there and
Yeah.
all the infected cells die. Cauterization is
Yeah.
described in great detail, and I'll show you the pictures of some of the instruments which are used for cauterization. Again,
Hmm.
trivia, but interesting trivia. They also mention pregnancy as one of the
Hmm.
things for surgery. So
Hmm.
we go back to the Mahabharata and we hear of how the Kauravas were born. Was
Hmm.
that removal of the fetus, division into 100, placing in different pots, and then all of them grow into different babies. So was
Are you
that some
saying?
kind of
Are you saying
test
is that
tube?
IVF?
Yes, test tube babies. Who knows?
Hmm.
Then there is another story in the Ramayana. Indra goes to Aditi because she is going to have not Aditi, Diti.
Hmm.
She is pregnant and is going to have a child who's going to be very powerful. So our jealous Devta, Indra, goes there and cuts that fetus into 7 pieces because he's scared One will be too
Hmm.
powerful. 7, okay, I can deal with. Then he cuts them also 7 more pieces. So 49 babies are born. And these
Okay.
49 are the 49 Maruts. Maruts are the winds.
Is that linked to Maruti by any chance? Marut?
Yes, because yes, he's also the wind god. Yes, Maruti. That's why he's called his father is the wind god.
Okay.
So the point again is this knowledge encoded in stories? This is something which
Hmm.
we'll have to wait to find out because
Hmm.
as and when more research happens, perhaps we'll get to learn more. So description of surgical methods and ailments, are we good on that?
Yeah, very good.
So now should we go on to instruments? And for instruments, I can show you different pictures from Dominic's book. But what I'll do is that I'll take something from somebody who has used his book, and perhaps it will be easier for you all to see that.
Okay.
So I'm just sharing my screen. Again, just give me a minute. And this is, by the way, from the article I'm sharing is from the Journal of Surgery. I will put the link under this video, and anyone who wants can see it. Is this episode becoming too knowledge heavy?
No, it's actually interesting.
Okay.
I don't think it's knowledge heavy. Now, if we start talking about the 25 different subdivisions of Ayurveda, that may be a little bit theoretical, but this one is fine. Plus, it's very
This is,
audiovisual.
yes. So this is a representation of Acharya Sushruta. I will take it with a pinch of salt. But to the left, can you see
It's like,
certain
uh,
pictures?
just as a aside, just like all the ancient Greek philosophers, they all look the same. All the
Yeah,
ancient Indian
they all look the
gurus, they
same.
all look the same.
Yeah. They'll just be given a big white dadhi.
Actually, all of them have white beards. It's just
Yeah.
that the Indian ones have a different hairstyle.
The beards are the same.
And given what we know about what was it, the H1, R1, what was it, the haplogroup? They
R1A,
probably all relate.
R1A.
R1A, they're probably all related anyway.
Hmm.
Okay, what are these made of? Okay,
Okay.
of course, we are already into the metal age, into the iron.
Yeah.
I mean,
In uh, in it must be said, first of all, that in the section on instruments, more than 100 instruments are described, but the best
hmm,
instrument is your hands. That is the first and best instrument. Without that, you can't do anything. Item one.
hmm, hmm,
After that,
hmm,
about 100 of them are described of 6 types:
hmm,
cruciform,
hmm.
pincer, spoon shape, tubular, rod line,
Yeah,
and accessory
yeah.
instrument. Now, these are also made with the faces or heads of different
So
animals.
yantra means instrument, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
machine, instrument. It is something that you use to fulfill your own ends.
Okay.
That is a yantra.
Hmm.
So this is a Shwan Mukh yantra. So this one looks like a dog. This one is a tiger-faced forceps, Vyaghra Mukh. Then there is a Vrik Mukh, wolf-faced, bear-faced, etc. This
Hmm.
is, can you see which one I'm pointing to with my
Tooth scaler.
mouse? Yeah, see, nice. And this is a sharp probe. This
Yeah.
is a lancet. This is a hammer.
Hmm.
This is a
Hmm.
bone saw. This is a
Wow.
scalpel.
How
Okay.
can you bone saw somebody even if they're drunk? That sounds a little bit much.
Torturous, right? Sounds worse
Yeah.
than torturous. Yeah. So
Yeah.
these were the different kinds of instruments. And anyone who is more interested can go and Google this. There are many images of this, all freely
Hmm.
available on the internet. So you can go and take a look at many of these. I wonder if some have been left out, and I can show some from my
Hmm.
friend's book. Are you interested in seeing other pictures, or have you had enough of pictures?
No, pictures were quite interesting. They're such cool names. Lion faced, tiger faced.
Yeah. So I had taken a look at all of them. This is those disgusting things. There is. I had taken a look at them and tried to, but it seems that I have, at the moment, I'm not able to,
That's okay. That's all right.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not able to get them. So now what I want to tell you is the materials they were made of.
Hmm.
They were made of steel, which is wood steel. And you know that the technology to make steel was present in India almost 3,000 years ago. New discoveries every day are giving us actual steel items which have been made. The latest is,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think, last week in Tamil Nadu, a steel spear was found. When in those famous Senoli burials that we saw, iron and steel was found there too. So it was made of steel, wood steel. Which then went to the Middle East, then it went to Spain and became famous as Damascus steel. But the origin of iron and steel technology is very much in India. Utkarsh, please mark this. We must do an episode on iron and steel. What else were they made of? Gold, silver, bronze, ivory, and very strong wood of certain specific wooden varieties. This is what
Hmm.
they were made of. One question that you haven't asked: how do they know what to cut up? Where to find what?
So I was going to ask, actually, a question was forming in my mind, which is linked to this. One of the reasons why the person who shares my birthday or who I share the birthday with, Leonardo da Vinci, is famous is because he did all those anatomical drawings, right? So he was mapping out the human body quite a specific manner. Do we have this equivalent in this book?
Yes, yes,
Which
yes.
is probably the
We
same
don't
way of
have,
asking the question, how do they know which part is what?
yeah.
So
So
same
we
same
don't
same
have
question.
an illustration. Da Vinci was an illustrator and he made that illustration. So we would have had those illustrations, but obviously they are
Hmm.
lost. Remember, Da
Hmm.
Vinci is just 500 years ago, and here we are talking about God knows how many thousand years. So, but
Yeah.
those descriptions are there. So how did they know where it is? Or what did they do? They took a dead body and they put it in
Hmm.
shallow water and made it, I mean, it decomposed. So they
Hmm.
looked at it while it decomposed. While everything was slowly peeling away, they
That
made
is
notice of
a
everything.
gruesome job, my God.
Yes. Think of the sight and the smell. So to be a physician, I mean, you had to have a very strong stomach. Let me tell you something worse. I mean,
No, I don't
worse
want
from
to
my
know.
point of view. First, from my point of view, so they had that is why it is called shalya, because shalya is like a weapon or a sliver or a arrow. So once the flesh was decomposed and you had to get the bones, so they scraped away all the flesh using these sharp splinters or sharp leaves. They scraped it all away to get to the bone. Now, what was the disadvantage in this? That you obviously the soft parts of the body which were inside, you would scrape those also away. So you had to look at those before you scraped away all the flesh. So each part, each moment of that decomposition had to be properly looked at and annotated. This was one way of knowing what was where in the human body. The other way was to go to the battlefield and look at all the people whose bodies had been cut open. And it is very clearly noted in either Rajshas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, everywhere that physicians, surgeons, doctors accompanied armies. So
Hmm.
they got some of their information from there.
You know what this is reminding me of?
What?
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Why?
Because what that guy, that's what he does, right? He basically goes and gets body parts from the one of the French wars or something to put together Frankenstein. I don't know when you read it. I think I
I
read it.
read it when I was very young. And
Hmm.
actually, even the horror went above my head. I think I understood very little.
And there's a movie out also right now recently.
But right now, if I try rereading it, it doesn't catch my interest, Utkarsh. It seems,
Yeah.
I don't know. We are used to more gruesome stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, it's now that could be an interesting question, but I think that was an archetype that it
Yeah,
established.
yeah.
which
But
I would
are
say is
we used to
original.
more gruesome things now? I think we are.
No, for sure. If you watched anything modern,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, this is how they gain knowledge. Another
Hmm.
good question. How did they disseminate knowledge? And
Hmm.
did you at once, when you joined this, so there were schools, medical schools to teach
Hmm.
these skills. There
Hmm.
were also public clinics and there was a public health system. For this, we will have to read Charak and maybe we'll do it sometime. Right now, what is very interesting is that students were taught to cut up the human body using all kinds of vegetables as examples. So,
Vegetables.
vegetables, yeah. So you
Oh,
use
you
these
as in they're
pumpkins.
practicing on vegetables.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're practicing on vegetables. So I have a
Hmm.
very, I think, cute little
Yeah.
illustration of this. Let's see if I can find it.
Okay.
Pumpkins
Yeah. I
and
think cutting a pumpkin is fine.
yeah. I think I found it. These are pretty cute. Ye, kaddu, kohda, pumpkin type of things are being cut up. No cutting up of dead bodies, Utkarsh. We are a
Hmm.
family podcast. So can you see this?
Interestingly, that is why Isaac Asimov didn't become a. I'm rereading his autobiography, the science fiction
He didn't
writer.
become a doctor.
Yeah, for that reason. He eventually became a biochemistry professor,
Okay.
but he didn't become a doctor because he didn't want to do all this cutting.
Well, he could have confined himself to pumpkins and kaddus, etc. Can you see the pumpkin over there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this is how they were taught.
Hmm.
So you see now we have a system of knowledge.
Yep.
We have understood. We have tried to explain from where that knowledge was gathered, how it was used, how instruments were made, and how that knowledge was disseminated. So we have a
Hmm.
complete medical system.
Hmm.
Now, I
Hmm.
think one or two other things that I want to talk about. One of them, of course, is dissemination. We have talked about the sea route and the land route from
Hmm.
India to the Gulf to Europe, and on the other side, from India to, say, China through the land route. Remember the Danhuang caves and all the
Yep.
information found over there through Tibet and then
Hmm.
to China,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
also the sea route from Southeast Asia,
Hmm.
Philippines, Japan, etc. Now, all these routes were in play all the time. Because of the spread of Buddhism, a lot of this information and knowledge went along with that. By the way, Utkarsh,
Hmm.
talking of Buddhism, there is one more interesting surgeon. His name was Jivak. He was supposed to be the surgeon of Gautam Buddha. What is he said to have performed? Cranial surgery. There was one person who had a lot of
Hmm.
headaches. So he went to him to ask for some solution to these headaches. So he took the permission of Gautam Buddha, he took the permission of the king at the time, and then he opened the cranium and did whatever it is and put it back, and the person was cured of headaches. So that is an
I mean, that
example.
must have been a pretty bad headache while he was doing it. Without, I still can't
And
get over the anesthesia.
I guess if you are completely out of your mind with drink, maybe, people can take off your half your cranium. Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? So, but see, that's another example of some very out of this world kind of surgery in
Hmm.
6th century BCE or even earlier.
Hmm.
Now,
Got it.
with the spread of Buddhism, using all these routes, this information went everywhere. Then, in the 8th century, this book of Sushruts was translated into Arabic by somebody called Abil Saidial. It was called the Kitab Shashun al-Hindi or Kitab al-Sushrut. Kitab-i-Sushrut. It was ordered by the Caliph Mansur, who lived in the 8th century. We've heard of this Caliph Mansur before. This Caliph Mansur it was around the same time that the Arabian Nights was disseminated
Hmm.
into
Hmm.
the Arabic countries. We've also heard of him for chess. We've also heard
Okay.
of him for Panchtantra. So
Hmm.
around the 7th, 8th century, a lot of stuff was going from India to Europe via these Gulf countries. Now I want to show you a couple of articles from Springer Nature. I don't know whether all people can read the articles themselves. Those articles say that when Alexander's army went back, a lot of information from this country regarding medicine went back with him. And when it went back with him, it went to Greece and it informed whatever Greek medicinal procedures happened over there. One of the most important things was this removal of bladder stones using surgery. And there
Hmm.
are two or three papers from Springer Nature, which I will link and which people can read if they want to.
Hmm.
What else should I tell you? I've already told you about how it went to Britain, how it went to China, Europe, Gulf countries. Yeah, that's right. So I think, any other questions, Utkarsh?
Uh, okay. It's tangential, but I think it's linked. One, because there's a lot of Chinese traditional medicine here in Singapore. And one important technique of Chinese traditional medicine, which is not surgery, but does involve implements, and the body is basically like acupuncture, right? You
Acupuncture.
stick all the
Hmm.
needles.
Hmm.
So the question that I have is that completely Chinese in origin, or does that perhaps also have some, is there some connection with all the
Look,
surgical
there
practices?
is definitely a connection, but the connection is not with surgery, Utkarsh, or
Hmm.
rather, it would be with Kai Chikitsa. Although that is
Hmm.
use of marmasthan. What is marmasthan? Acupuncture does in particular places which have links
Yeah,
with other parts of the
correct,
body.
correct,
So
correct,
that is
correct.
what is called marmasthan in
Hmm.
Ayurveda.
Hmm. Hmm.
Marmasthan, the description is there in Sushruta Samhita, the description is there in Charak Samhita, and yes, all these have been translated into Chinese. In fact, for some of them, we have only the Chinese translations and not the original Sanskrit. So, yes, of
Hmm.
course, there is a link between Ayurveda and between acupuncture. And
Hmm.
again,
Hmm. Hmm.
just tag this. We will do a full episode on this. On Marmsthan
Hmm.
and acupuncture, we'll do a full episode.
Yeah, that was it. That was the only question that I had. Yeah.
So I was just thinking in terms of, so there was this wonderful system of surgery, wonderful for its time. It's not
Hmm.
wonderful for today because
Hmm.
today we have a lot of, it's moved in a way where we use many different tools and technology to look inside the body, to cut up the body, etc. So is it possible to use these same methods which were there at the time of Sushruta? So I am asking the question and I am answering it myself in the negative because I don't think that we can do that. We've moved in a slightly different way. But this set up a kind of train of thought in me. Sushrut is a practitioner of Ayurvedic Shalya Chikitsa. Ayurveda thinks of the entire body, mind, body and mind together. It's well-being of the person. Today's surgery is good at cutting up people and stitching them up again. But post surgery issues of the body and mind are really not bothered about. So it could have been possible that if we had looked at Sushrut's way of surgery and refined on that, we would have ended up with a different paradigm of surgery, which would have been less clinical and cold and perhaps more concerned with the entire well being of the person. This is just a thought.
Hmm.
I don't know what you
Hmm.
think about it.
Yeah, it's all about the philosophy, right? The underlying philosophy behind something. It
Yes.
goes back to things like we have said, right? Where nature is man's bounty versus man is a part of nature. That's a very
Hmm.
fundamental difference, and then it leads to a very different approach
Hmm.
in terms of late stage capitalism, etc. So yeah, makes sense.
And again, Utkarsh, therefore, we must do an episode on Ayurveda and well-being. And what is the
Hmm.
difference between Ayurveda
Hmm.
and allopathy?
Hmm.
What is the difference? And it is something which we need to understand. Modern medicine is great, but it has its disadvantages also. And I feel the systems should learn from each other and not be at loggerheads. And perhaps we would be
Hmm.
in a better place. Take
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
strengths of each and not be at loggerheads. I don't know. Do I have any other gruesome pictures to show you?
Good. I think this was very interesting episode actually.
So I
Yeah.
draw a line at the gruesome pictures. I'm sure I could have dug out a few, but I will draw a line at them under them.
Okay, good. Should we end it here?
Yes, I think so. I hope we've covered the basic things that people would like to know. We've talked about the rhinoplasty in detail, and perhaps I will try and look for some more information on bone setting and limb
Hmm.
amputation, because those were the most important things in the ancient world, in the medieval world, and even till
Hmm. Hmm.
I would say even 100 or 150 years ago, when battlefield
Hmm.
injuries were much more,
Yeah.
because people
Hmm.
actually fought hand to hand, not the video game
Hmm.
type of fighting where you press this
No
button.
drones. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So maybe I'll look at that. But Utkarsh, to flag three things. One was Marmsthan, the other was Ayurveda and well-being, and I don't know what was the third. We had thought of three things to
Hmm.
concentrate on.
Hmm.
Okay, we'll take a listen ourselves once again to flag these.
Yeah.
So
No, you
great.
wanted to also talk about steel. That was the third one.
Ah, yes, correct.
Yeah.
Steel. Yes, yes. So maybe we'll keep to STEM, or maybe we'll go for something more topical and glittering in today's world. That's a hint, but let's see what we do next time. Let's keep it as a little bit of a suspense. So looking forward to seeing you again. Please watch, like, subscribe, and share. Give us a leg up, give us a hand up, and respond to this. Please do join on when are we releasing this? Sunday at 7?
Sunday. Yeah. Yeah.
Please join Sunday at 7 o'clock India time. I'll be there. So if you have any questions, I'm there. I will be there to answer them. It would be great if you kind of, we did it in an interactive kind of way. And Utkarsh, maybe we can have a live session sometime.
Yeah. We should do that. Yeah.
Thank you and see you next week. Namaskar.
All right. Take care. Bye. Okay.